If you're having pain in the proximal hamstring when you're running or doing different activities, this is the video for you. I'm going to show you 3 different exercises and changes to help cure that proximal hamstring tendinopathy for good. Welcome back to Movement Project. Tim Mentor, Doctor of Physical Therapy. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel where we're looking to cut out unnecessary surgeries by focusing on the movement that's at the cause of the problem rather than the problem itself. Now, any tendon problem in your body or muscle problem in your body that's chronic, we know we have a problem with more than just the muscle. It's kind of like a teacher and a student. It's a two-way street. You need to have a good student that's receiving the information, but you also need to have a good teacher who's delivering the information. In healthcare, what we're mainly focusing on is the student, the muscle, and trying to do different things to strengthen the muscle, but we're not focusing on the signal coming from the teacher. In this case, the brain or the central nervous system. Anytime we're telling a muscle to contract, we have different messages, basically an accelerator and a brake. So when you have a chronic problem, like so often is the case for these tendinopathies, you have a vehicle basically trying to ride around with the brake on all the time. So with the exercises that we're doing, we need to turn off the brake and try to increase the accelerator so that muscle and tendon can fire properly without pain. So one way we can hack that is by using a prolonged isometric. We take our resistance band. This is a WOD Nation. I'll put a link for it in the video description. There's lots of brands to get the same thing done. This is a 40-pound resistance, and I loop it over my bar. You want to put it up relatively high so we're getting an angle that's similar to what would happen when we're running. And I'm just going to hook this down at my ankle or heel area. Okay? If you have any concerns with your balance, hold on to something. But I'm just going to pull this down. And now, right now, that hamstring is replicating the force that it has when it's taking a stride and striking the ground and running or walking. But the key with this and where it's different is I want you to hold this for 30 seconds. Now, you'll notice on a side where you have some weakness or pain, you might feel more in the other leg working to try to stabilize. So the key is trying to progress yourself over the course of a couple of weeks to where you can feel a good hamstring firing happening when you hold this for that 30-second period. The resistance that you pull with should be about 50% of your max. So we don't want you to hold this as hard as you possibly can. Otherwise, you're going to cause more problems. All right, and then of course we want to switch to the other leg, and then we'll go through a few sets on each. Okay, same thing, hold down, 30 seconds, nice pull in the hamstring. My right side actually fires better. I can feel this all in my right hamstring, not as much load on this left standing leg, whereas definitely felt it more on the standing leg on the right when I was working the left leg. Go through 30 seconds and then cycle through 3 sets to start on each of these. Try to do it each day because again, we're not doing a real heavy training to the muscle. Instead, we're actually working on increasing that accelerator signal, taking off the brake. So this helps us take off the brake and improve that acceleration. Don't be surprised if after doing this, you have a little bit less pain in the hamstring. You'll want to experiment in different ranges for the hamstring. That previous exercise, we were working on that initial contact where your foot's out in front. Now we want to work with the foot out behind us like it would be at the end of our stride. I anchored my band down below on the bottom of the bench, and here I'm just pulling back, again trying to hold for 30 seconds. This is much more challenging, so you probably want to start with a lighter band to build this up. But here I can put my foot down and just drop my heel. I'm not working my hamstring much at all. You want to make sure that you have that foot up in the air and hold on for balance as needed. 30 seconds, 3 times on each. This is a great exercise for proximal hamstring tendinopathy. Most people aren't familiar with it. If you have access to a treadmill, it works great. You just go ahead and pop it on, and you're going to want to set it to about 0.5 miles per hour. You can build up to maybe 1 mile per hour as you get more proficient. But we want to work that eccentric training, or the muscle as it lengthens. So you take a step back and you're just resisting the belt movement forward. You're going to go through that full range of motion. I reach back basically like I'm going through the opposite of a normal stride. But the whole time I do it, I'm just resisting backward with my hamstrings. Okay, I'm going to bring it up to 1 mile per hour, and I'm just digging my heel and pushing backward. You don't want to push down because then you're just going to be using your quads and a little bit of your glutes. We want to really target the hamstrings here. So I'm pushing straight backward with my heel toward the front of the treadmill until I get through about 15 reps. And I'll switch sides. Okay, it's a good idea to get comfortable with it by starting on your non-painful side or your stronger side if you're just doing this for strength and activation. You go through another 15 reps, pushing backward until you've completed it, and then just jump right back to the other leg. Take yourself through about 3 sets of 15 and do this every day. And you should see over the course of a couple of weeks that you have considerably less pain with the exercise and with moving. There should be a low-grade pain when you do this exercise. The research has showed us that you want to push into a low-grade pain that's your pain. You don't want to avoid pain completely with these chronic tendinopathies. All right, so hopefully that works out for you. Take it through, like I said, 3 sets of 15. Resisting backward. Now, although this isn't an exercise for your hamstring tendinopathy, this is one of the more important things that's going to limit you from making progress. Sitting. When you're sitting, you want to make sure that we're not going long stretches of time with direct pressure on the hamstring, in that proximal area right on the butt bone. Just beyond that is that hamstring tendon that's already going to have some trouble getting blood flow to it. When you sit and you put direct pressure right on that bone or on that hamstring tendon, especially on a firm chair, you're just asking for trouble and you're going to have a difficult time healing. So the first step would be to just try a softer chair that has some give to it. If that still doesn't get you the progress you're hoping for, get yourself a cushion. Like this is the perfect cushion. I have a link for it in the video description. And it has a soft surface and some gripping on the bottom so it doesn't slide in your chair, and a little cutout for your tailbone. That will take any firm chair and convert it into something softer that allows a little bit more give for those ischial tuberosity bones, your sit bones, to drop into, and allows the hamstrings to breathe. Another thing you could try is just simply rolling up a towel and placing it under the middle part of your thighs so that that butt bone is hanging off and not directly pressing down onto the chair surface. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out as well, because the direct pressure from sitting is not really helpful at all when we're looking at trying to recover from these injuries. You can see an example of this by just applying pressure anywhere on your body. And if you hold that there for a length of time, eventually you'll start to have some discomfort. This is basically how all wounds start, or a bed sore. There's too much pressure in one area and you're not able to get oxygen to the tissue, it starts to break down and die, get irritated, inflamed. So that's what's going on with an active problem in your proximal hamstring, and you have pressure from a seat. Hopefully this video was helpful. Subscribe to my channel by clicking over here to help me cut out unnecessary surgeries and opiate use by focusing on the problem at its root, which is the movement, rather than just treating the problem by itself. To watch a video on how you can help your shoulder pain during push-ups, click down here.